Transformation, it's that thing. It begins by understanding who you truly are. Yeah, look at me. Who are you? Today, Mornings in the Lab with Keith and friends. Welcome to Mornings in the Lab, where
when something negative comes up.
Building muscle improves blood flow.
Nobody is expecting, John.
If your lady's saying that, you're just
Being as a super food.
Be entertained by fun over here.
How have I slept? Has my sleep been good? Is that...
Good morning, nation. Good morning. Here we go. Yeah, we're doing it again. We got the robot. We got the red hat. Welcome to the only live morning show to get your ass to the bed. Yeah, giving you those tools to transform your life one morning at a time. Hey, you asked for the robe. You asked for the hair. I brought it here this morning. Baby, yeah, we're continuing with Transformation Week, discussing how aligning with your true nature is the key to meaningful transformation. Listen, who are you at your core? Today, we're going to explore it. Are you an artist? Are you an entrepreneur? Or are you a leader? Today, coming up, Mornings in the Lab. And listen, if you're new here, I invite you to put the robe on, put the headset on, invite the kids out of the room, because those kids might hear some bad language like what you're hearing here every single day, 8 o'clock Eastern time. Mornings in the Lab with Keith and friends. Jimmy, let's bring in the crew. Let's see what everybody's got to say today. What's going on? Marty, what's going on? Johnny, what's going on today, boys?
What's happening?
What's going on, man? What's up, man? What's happening, man?
Well, you guys brought the black. I'm black with the red headset. I brought the white robe with the red hat on with the black glasses, and life is good today in Mornings in the Lab territory. It's cold here in Manitoba, Canada here today, but hey, I'm warm in the robe. How are you boys today? Johnny, how are you doing, buddy?
Are you in a full-blown robe?
I'm in a full-blown robe with nothing underneath it.
I was going to say, it looks like you got some chest hanging out there. Like you don't even have a shirt underneath there.
Yeah, so yesterday I launched a brand new service. I launched, boys, that you guys did not hear about. Nope, I launched it with a whim. Hey, let's do it, Jimmy. Let's do it, man. We got to show nation. We got to show nation all this brand new service that I launched here on Mornings in the Lab. It is a brand new optimization platform. Check it out, boys. I got to show you. So here we go. Officially today, Keith Bilous is launching LinkedIn profile optimization services. Optimize your banner just like Keith Bilous. You can get the greatest profile banner and the greatest profile picture unlike anybody else on the platform. Check it out. You get the hair like Bilous, you get the look like Bilous, and if you're lucky, you get the look. There you go, Marty. Yeah, so that's it. Officially today, we launched it. LinkedIn Nation is going crazy with the robe, crazy with the hair. So those of you that are tuning in, if you're looking for a profile picture like mine, later today, we're going to drop it in the feed. You can take the profile, take the banner, put your own face in there and have some fun and create your own LinkedIn experience with an optimized banner.
I might need to do that.
I think you should, Marty. I think you should. I think you absolutely should.
I had the hair out the other day. I don't know if you saw my podcast.
I did, man. I'm still thinking, Marty, you got to pull the hair out a little more often.
All right, I got you.
You mean you had like the afro? You mean?
Yeah, but mine is like a flow like Keith, man.
Marty's got a fucking awesome flow, man. Yeah, he's got the best flow, brother. He's got like I swear we are brothers from different mothers. His flow is awesome.
My internet's chopping up. I missed that. So you had like the full blood. What it looked like, Marty? Like a full blown. Is that what you had?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can find it for you. I got you, man.
There you go. There you go.
So it's either cornrows or like the 1970s NBA. One of the two, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a good look right there, baby.
Hey boys, we got Keri-Lynne Shaw hanging out with us in the green room. She's joining us here in about 10 minutes or so for the center stage. We celebrated her in the Creator Spotlight a couple weeks back.
Is she ready for the show?
I don't know if she's ready. I don't think she thought Bilous was showing up in the robe today naked. Yeah. It's just like, underneath the robe is this bare ass, like bare white ass. John.
All right, man.
It's just hanging out there. Hey, speaking of bare ass, I got something for you boys. I got something for you boys. It's a pretty important question. If you had the opportunity to be one of 1,000 men, would you sleep with a porn star?
Hold on, ask the question.
Go ahead,
again.
Johnny. Go ahead, Johnny.
If you had the choice to be one in 1,000 men,
if you had a chance to be one of 1,000 men, would you go have a chance to go sleep with a porn star?
I don't understand. If I had a chance to be one of 1,000 men, I'm not understanding the question.
Okay, wait. So maybe I didn't ask the. So that's a fair point, Johnny. Uncle Keith's got to have a sip of coffee here to re-ask the question. So there is a young lady over in Europe who has decided to sleep.
There you go, Johnny.
There it is. There's the flow.
There we go, buddy. Yeah, you got to keep that, brother.
That's it. So there's a young lady. There's a young lady over in London, in Europe. I think it's Europe. Yeah, not so Australia. I think it's in Europe actually. Who's decided? We're going to get into the details later on in the show here. She's decided that she's going to sleep with 1,000 men in 24 hours.
Oh no, I wouldn't do that. I thought you were asking a different question. Yeah.
1,000. So she's giving every man 41.6 seconds.
How
but here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Later on
the whole concept of if I had a chance to be one of 1,000 men,
that's crazy.
That doesn't even compute with me. I don't think, boy, what if I could be one of those? You know, whatever I choose to be, I become one of those. Well, I definitely wouldn't choose to be some fucking schlup that's got 41 seconds in a hoe bag like that.
Here's the thing, Johnny. If somebody's choosing to be one of those, they might catch one of what's ever going to happen amongst the other 1,000 that are going to be a part of that situation.
Exactly. So, how desperate you got to be.
Today's show, we're talking transformation. Tony Robbins, we all know Tony Robbins, that little guy just down the road there who does some motivational stuff. He introduced me to a concept that it's actually changed my life. True story. My life's been changed a couple times. It changed when I decided, discovered this business athlete mindset, but it changed again when I discovered Tony's video. And he says that knowing your true nature, whether you're fundamentally an artist, a leader, or an entrepreneur, is what leads you to fulfillment. Now, listen. If you're an artist, you thrive when creating. If you're a leader, you excel in guiding and motivating others. And if you're an entrepreneur, you feel alive, taking risks and building something from the ground up. Boys, when I realized my true nature, I'm going to tell you, man, everything fell into place. Actions, goals, ultimately fulfillment went through the roof. So today we're going to get more into this idea of transforming your life, starting with your core, your true nature. I recognize through this whole experience myself that my true nature, what's core to me, is that I am an artist. I always thought, Johnny, Marty, I was an entrepreneur. Yeah, I got entrepreneurial spirit inside of me, but ultimately, look at me. I'm an artist. I love the idea of creativity, and I love creating. When you look at yourself,
I do love that cool looking hat, though, brother. I got to tell you, that Kangol red bucket hat is tight. That's good shit.
It's my red beach hat, Marty. When you think about yourself, artist, creator, or manager?
I think I'm all three.
Can only pick one.
Probably creator.
I think so. I think as I've gotten to know, I think that's where you are as well. I think you fall into the creator bucket. That's where I would. So based on me spending time with you over the last year, that's where I would put you. Johnny, where do you find yourself, pal? You find yourself as a creator at its core, as an entrepreneur at its core, or as a leader, manager as its core? I have my opinions, but I'd like to know what your opinion is.
Yeah, I think I'm probably, leading and creating both make me happy. But I think if I go down to the depths, I think probably a creator. But I could argue both sides of that fence.
Yeah, so I think you are too, and I think creators, it's why we're doing this. In many ways, I think it's why we're doing this show. Where we have this creative outlet, this creative energy to let out, right? And what we do, because John, as I've gotten to know you, you surround yourself with business managers to do your business stuff. Now I know you're the business leader, but you find people around you to surround yourself to accomplish the business things. Marty, you do, and I do the same thing. I had Maurice and so forth, right? So, you look at a guy like Tony Robbins, he's like, as he went through his path, he discovered himself. He's a creator. Like, he's like, I'm a business guy, but that's not my strong suit. I love creating for others, and I've surrounded myself with extremely smart business folks to help empower that. That's
and there's kind of a hybrid there because, you know, when you create something, like part of what I create is I create my way of life, right?
Yes.
And my lifestyle. And then I teach and lead others who want to learn how to do something similar. So it's like they're almost like you almost can't separate them if you get down deep.
I think what the questions ultimately posed is that if you could only choose one thing, if you had to make profit, or if you had to just be an artist and work for free. So you're a doctor. You know, if you're a doctor, are you a creator or are you a business person?
Oh, well, then that brother, as a creator, I've been a creator from the jump because I never went to go get money. I went to create something to get money. Exactly. Right. And Johnny, I got to tell you, man, because it was a discovery process for me. I watched this video and we're going to talk a little about it today. We'll drop some clips throughout the show, perhaps if we get some time, but I always thought I was an entrepreneur, right? Always entrepreneur. But as I've gone through this process and building this business and building the morning show, I've recognized that actually my true love is this. Because I always say I've never had more fun making zero money, right? And because I thoroughly enjoy this. You talk to artists who like making their art, they do it for the love, and then their hope and promise is that it's monetized along the way, right? Whereas Nirvana was like the biggest band ever. And as soon as they started making money, it fucked them up. They just wanted to play their music and, you know, at some quiet place where just the total enthusiast would give them their props.
Well, it's interesting to hear you said, Johnny, because the same thing with Metallica. Think about Metallica, right? Remember when Napster came out and Metallica, and I know we're aging ourselves and aging Marty out of this whole conversation, but Metallica comes out, Napster comes out, Lars Ulrich is like, what the hell is this streaming shit? You know, we're all about making great music. We're all not about selling our music, not about selling out, yada, yada, yada. But the reality is that at the end of the day, business needs to come to the table and folks need to make money. Right. So it's an interesting conversation. And I think as we talk today about transformation, and we lean into those three topics. Who are you at your core? When you get out of bed, it goes back to purpose, Johnny Marty. Who are you at your core? Right? Or is your core to go and, you know, lay it all on the line? It's funny because I enjoy playing craps. Right? I love gambling. But at the end of the day, I get to a certain point where I know some people who will still go even further than I do. Right? It's that whole idea of gambling. Right? So, right. So, Marty, when you hear, what do you lean into, Marty, when you think about this?
I look at, you know, the same thing. You know, what do I enjoy to do every day?
Yes.
You know? And Johnny made a great point saying he never had to go get money. And I've had a couple jobs over the years, but that's only because I had to, because creating there's no job for it, right? You kind of, to be successful at it, you kind of got to lean into it. And I think those are the most successful people on earth. You know, look at the Amazon, Jeff Bezos, look at the Elon Musk. Those guys are creators. You know, those guys tap into their gifts and they tap into their vision. So I think that's the best way to be.
Well, you look at Steve Jobs, creator, right? Creator, right? Surround himself with Wozniak and the gang, right? But it's that creator mindset, right? I think if you want to change the world, you got to create.
Man, right? What's crazy is, like, you should see my phone. I got so many ideas in there. And one of my boys, he's a you know, like a local actor.
Yeah,
he's done some skits and stuff. And you know, I was just talking to him, telling him, like, I got all these skits, these fitness skits in my phone that I haven't done yet.
Yeah, and
they're funny as shit. He was like, bro, like, come on, man, I'm right here.
Bring it to life.
Come on, man, let's go. So be on the lookout. But
when you say fitness skits, what do you mean fitness skits? Just like so like role playing, point of view type stuff.
Yeah, things that happen in the gym. You know, creepy dudes. The old head talking too much, you know, hey man, you know, me and your dad used to be cool back in the day, that type of stuff. You just, when you're trying to get a workout and it's just all this nonsense going on, you can only imagine.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny, man.
It is good. All right, we got Keri-Lynne Shaw hanging out in the green room for us. Waiting, we're gonna bring her in a minute, but let's do this, boys. Johnny, go for a break. Marty, go for a break. Let's do the accountability check-in, and it'll bring Keri-Lynne Shaw, talk about her morning routine. Maybe she's got her robe on today. Now, you never know. All right, let's do it. Listen, it's time to stop. Listen to me clearly. It's time to stop bullshitting yourself. Yep, stop it. Too often we let our egos or societal pressure push us into roles that we don't fit. Yeah, think about that. Think about what you're doing right now because somebody else suggested you do it or because you have to do it. But when you get up and you look in the mirror, who are you really? Who are you at your core? Maybe You've always thought of yourself as an entrepreneur, but really, you're actually driven by helping others, not the bottom line. Maybe you're all about the risk and the big swings, but you aren't concerned with leading people or processes. So listen, whether you're an artist, you're a leader, or an entrepreneur, today is the day you're going to own it. I invite you to own it. Look in the mirror, ask yourself, artist, leader, entrepreneur, stop chasing something that doesn't fulfill you and start doubling down on what comes naturally. Because the reality is you got one life, not two, not three. So whether you're an artist, you're a leader, an entrepreneur, own it. Because only then are you living a life that aligns with who you are at your core. Think about that before you hit that snooze button. This morning on Mornings and Alive with Keith and Friends, that, nation, is your accountability check-in for today. Speaking of today, we're going to bring in somebody here right now, coming up here in a minute here. Jimmy, we're going to bring up our guest here in just un second. Jimmy, hang tight, Jimmy, hang tight, Jimmy. We're going to do this here, Jimmy. We're going to do we're going to try a little transition here with our guest here as I bring something up on the screen. Yep, it's going to do this here. We got somebody who's a career roadie, Marty. Yeah, career roadie. I didn't say, Johnny talked about Nirvana earlier today. I didn't say Nirvana roadie. I talked about a career roadie. Yep, I did. Let's do this here. Let's bring this on stage here. All right, let's do this. Jimmy, let's bring up Keri-Lynne Shaw to the stage here. Our career roadie who's driving professional success.
What's up, Carrie?
Joining us all the way from New York City. What's going on, Keri-Lynne Shaw? I think you're muted on the vertical there. While you get yourself unmuted, I'm going to do a little intro of Carrie. So she has a journey of career fulfillment. She's Keri-Lynne, a guide to navigating the twists and turns of your professional path. Together, you'll unlock potential, boost confidence, and secure the compensation you deserve, nation. If you're feeling stuck, if you have interview anxiety, or if you have some compensation concerns, this career roadie, Keri-Lynne, can help you. She's all about the career transformation. Gentlemen, you're getting yourself up today going, fuck, I'm stuck. I'm 48, I'm fat. Go talk to John Anderson. I need a career transformation. Go talk to Keri-Lynne Shaw. I need a new flow. Go talk to Marty. He'll help you with the flow.
There we go.
From fear to fulfillment, from invisible to invaluable, from uncertain to empowered, Keri-Lynne Shaw joins us here today. She's the career co-pilot, navigates together. She's got the career bump program. Listen, boys, we're talking bumping earlier if you're one of those 1,000 men in Europe, but the career bump program brought to you by Keri-Lynne Shaw, personalized coaching, crafting your story, strategic networking. But hey, she doesn't offer the ultimate LinkedIn profile package like I'm offering with my face. But she does offer a salary bump program, 30 to 50%, 100% confidence boost, unlimited career satisfaction. Today, we are excited. Oh, baby, we are excited to bring on the stage today Keri-Lynne Shaw from New York City. Keri-Lynne, yay! How are you?
Amazing, thank you.
What's going on? We celebrated you last week or a couple weeks ago. We popped up.
If that wasn't a celebration or an intro, I don't know what is. Man,
dude, I like your backdrop. I like your backdrop there. I love that. Is that like the Wall of Fame? Is that your picture behind you there, Carrie?
It is not my picture. It's all the people in my life.
I love that. That's a really wonderful backdrop you got us there. So the founder of the salary bump, Carrie, we have one question we ask everybody before we get the conversation started here.
Okay.
It's probably the most important question you've ever been asked. What's your morning routine?
My morning routine is workout. So warm water, first and foremost, most important thing you can do. Power walk. Yeah. And then a little coffee. Yeah. And meditation, sauna. Yes. Not every day, but I try to.
Nice.
That's the answer we're looking for.
That is the answer. So what time's the alarm clock go off? Or are you one of those, I just roll over and get up without the alarm clock?
Roll over, no alarm clock.
Whoa, boys, we've got a true business athlete here in the lab. So you just roll over, you get out of bed, and you start hopping, or you drink the water, or like
I jump out of bed. Always, I'm an eternal optimist. I'm Canadian. I mean, what can I say?
Yeah.
And I moved away from the minus 40-degree weather, and I don't have that to deal with anymore. But no, I'm always looking for what's next, and getting out of bed is the best part of the day. I'm a morning person, rock and roll.
Have you always been that, Carrie?
I would say not when it came to going to school. No, I wasn't a big fave of the school.
Yeah, no, not at all.
We use alarm clocks here. We gotta. I know I need one. I would get up at like 6, 7 a.m. every day if I didn't have the alarm clock. Johnny, sorry.
Yeah. The last couple of days, Marty, my body's just been waking at like 3:54. Last 2 days, 3:54. My body rolls over and goes, time to get up. I look at my arm. I'm like, oh.
That's your gambling number, Keith. You got to keep that number. Numbers are signs.
Oh, lean into that, Carrie. Are you a number person, Carrie?
I'm a 555-1111. Yep. There's repetitive numbers come up for me every single day.
How did you decide that?
It's so strange. I've lived in 2 number 11 houses, 2 number 55 houses, and in 3 different countries. Really? So I believe it very strongly.
Wow.
Johnny, do you believe in numbers? I know Terry has some skills that might lead her to believing in numbers. Are you a number believer, Johnny?
I think the numbers are powerful for sure. I think especially when something about patterns and numbers, and there's a lot to it. It's almost like like there's a whole, like when you start looking at wine, there's just this rabbit hole that you can go down, and it's like, holy shit, there's so much. Same thing with numbers, especially if you go back to like some of how numbers have power, 6s and 9s and all this weird shit. Like I think it was Tesla had this crazy thing with certain numbers. And so there's definitely a lot to it for sure.
I think there is, if you connect the dots. So where were you in those moments? What was happening for you? Was it transformational time in your life? So I think grounding yourself. So I'd say 354, I research it. What does it mean? Is there any other time in my life where 3s and 5s and 4s have come up? And maybe it's just my lotto ticket number. I don't know. Interesting.
I've grown up with a series of 6s in my life. I lived in an address which was 666. My phone number today is 6666. I say this to the devil all the time. I'm one better than the devil. Devil's like, I got 3 6. I'm like, fuck you. I got 4 of them. Yeah, I'm better than you. So that's just so that's my magic with numbers, Keri-Lynne.
That is magic, Keith.
There you go. So listen, you've built your career around helping others transform. Not just their negotiating skills, but also their entire career trajectory and sense of self-worth. Carrie, tell us about your journey. How did you step into this space and start transforming lives? We're here talking about transformation and about who you are at your core. Where did you step into this space and start doing this, Keri-Lynne?
Well, I would say it started when I sold cars to pay for college. I think there's an entrepreneurial aspect to being in sales, and I had to pay my bills. And there was something about getting, people driving off the lot. They were used cars, but I loved making people feel really good about it. So that, I think, started my entrepreneurial mindset. Not to mention I was in control of how much money I made. And I had a lifestyle that I wanted to live. I loved to travel. I knew that I wanted to make money so that I could live the life that I wanted to live. So yeah, I think that was probably the biggest draw. Then I spent 30 years in corporate, and I didn't negotiate.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Thank God I'm out. Can't imagine ever going back into that life. Although
with the right crew.
I didn't get that. Sorry. What did you say, Marty?
No, I said you're with the right crew, because we're not 30-year in corporate guys.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. That's not for everybody. And it wasn't for me necessarily when I think about it as a 52-year-old woman starting a new business. It was good to me that I had great years. I learned a ton. I went the normal trajectory, got my MBA, did all that stuff. Learned from some really crappy leaders, learned from great leaders, and learned how companies work. So I spent most of my career in sales and marketing, and then I fell into HR, and I realized that there's a great need for companies to have better HR and to actually be a resource to the humans and help them grow and help them find their way. And whether that's out of the company, whether that's inside the company, whatever it is, based on what they are at their core and based on what they value. And I've always grounded people back to that, to help them figure out what their strengths are and how do they play best to that, because in some cases they're in the wrong roles.
Carrie, we're here talking transformation today and talking life transformation today. And one of the cues we're taking from is Tony Robbins. And he believes that all people are one of these three things: either an artist, a leader, or an entrepreneur. Keri-Lynne, you've built your career around helping others transform, not just their negotiating skills, but also their entire career trajectory and sense of that self-worth. Out of those three, when you look in the mirror, Keri-Lynne, what do you subscribe to? Are you an artist? Are you a leader? Are you an entrepreneur? Maybe the fourth one is, I'm not really sure, but I have this entrepreneurial drive. But when you think about the question, Keri-Lynne, who are you? Artist, leader, entrepreneur?
You used the word creator earlier. So is creator and entrepreneur going together?
No, not the same. You can only choose one, because the creator at the end of the day wants to create, right? Whereas an entrepreneur ultimately wants to build and maximize their income, right? So where me and Johnny might be creating, and you're like, well, I'm your business partner, guys. It's now time to sell what you're building. No, you can't sell what I'm building. It's my creation. Well,
Yeah.
no,
I say I'm an entrepreneur because I believe you should be able to do both. And there's a way to do both, honoring who you are and what you value. Biz dev is where I jam.
Yeah.
I think there's an aspect of me that has leaned more into being a creator, but I love bringing people's ideas to life and helping you figure out how do you monetize it. And
they're tied together, really tight. I agree. They're tied together so tightly. I feel the same way. It's like you get down to the root. It's like, I create, but I also want to share. And then, as I share, then the entrepreneur part of me comes out. So it's all kind of like, it's a hard question to answer, but I agree with you. I think you go down to the roots, they get tied together.
Yeah.
I think it's a great question, though. And it's a provocative question that if you can only choose one, and I forced myself to choose one, because when you're building something from nothing like I'm doing here right now, you can only choose one. I'm a creator. I'm an artist. I need a business partner because I spend 12 hours a day creating this show, 16 hours a day creating this show, 20 hours a day creating this show. There's no room left to be the business person.
Yeah.
So you actually can't be both. It's impossible to be both. It's true story. Because you're either going to excel every single day, getting your ass up out of bed, monetizing, or you're going to focus on making sure that shirt you're making, because you're an artist, has all that red stitching within it all. And then Keri-Lynne, my business partner, is going to say, Keith, you've made this exceptional creation. I'm now going to monetize this for you. There's a very distinct difference. And until we as humans can recognize that, we're going to spin around. It was life-changing for me a few months ago. As I was creating the show, I was sitting down, I was sitting down with somebody like, Keith, you got to monetize this thing. I mean, no, I need to create the best show in the world.
Well, and here's the thing. There was a point in my journey where I said, okay, from this point forward, I'm not going to do anything for money unless I thoroughly enjoy it.
Yes.
And that's where I say it really connected them, because I was like, okay, you have all these things you can do, but which one are you going to do if you weren't getting paid? And so when I basically decided to move forward in that direction, I knew I would monetize it, and I knew it wouldn't be that difficult to do, but it was like, that was the choice I made. And that was a life-changing decision for me.
Yes. Yeah. Go ahead, Carrie.
I was just going to say, I think there's another one where people can get stuck in the creation and fear, when do I actually bring in the business person? When do I bring in the career roadie? When do I bring in that person? I can't afford it. And that's, I think, the getting unstuck and the mindset part. So you are step one. Fantastic. I know this is who I am. And then it's, who do I have to surround myself with? You talked about John surrounding himself with incredible business people, partners. That's, I think, where entrepreneurs that's like the magic to the next step.
I think you're absolutely right, Keri-Lynne. And that to me is about the transformation, is when you truly can understand who you are at your core. Because when it became, again, so this is my second rodeo. I built my last company, sold it for a few bucks. This is my second rodeo, doing this one largely solo. I had business. So I surrounded myself with business people last time. As I was doing this one, I was trying to do everything. And I kind of had that reality a number of months ago. Yeah. Those 7 minutes, I'm like, right. ultimately, I am a creator because I'm making no money right now. Zero. I'm having a hell of a lot of fun, but it can't go forever. That's not business, right? So you need to surround yourself with business people, to your point, Keri-Lynne, the entrepreneurial side, to turn it into a business. But hey, let's keep the show going here. It's a great topic. We'll keep it rolling on here. Keri-Lynne, how can Business Athlete Nation find you? Where can folks connect with the Career Roadie? How can anybody who needs your services, where can they find you, Carrie?
So I'm primarily on LinkedIn. I have marketing people, creators helping me on Instagram and TikTok. Yeah. But LinkedIn is where I jam. I think it's the most friendly, most interesting platform that is very underutilized by most people. I think people who are looking for jobs are not using it as a thought leadership platform. And I think it's a big mistake. The sooner you get out there and start talking about what you do, what you love, what you value, what you are at your core, the more recruiters and companies will find you. So that's where I jam most of my time. And yeah, you can DM me there. I help people get out of crappy situations. I just helped a woman negotiate a $2.5 million package.
Nice.
Proactively raised her hand, 35 years with a company. People should never leave a company without raising their hand for a package. Every company is paying right now because every company is trying to reduce headcount and save costs.
Yeah.
So you're saving somebody from losing their job. If you found another job, just raise your hand and ask for a package. I help people do that. Help them obviously negotiate their next packages and help them really identify what is really important to them and start to create, whether it's giving back, whether it's creating generational wealth, all the things that matter to you. We get grounded to that. And I help them have confidence to walk in and get paid with their worth and know how to do their homework to figure that out and how to make it not an ugly conversation. It's not, most people think of negotiation as an ugly space. It's not. We create a win-win environment and there's no winner, no loser. It's how do we both feel valued?
Oh, I love that, Keri-Lynne. And hey, listen, that big return to the office mandate is actually a disguise of what, Keri-Lynne?
Bullshit.
Yeah, there you go. Wow. It's rooted in office leases and realigning staff, is it not? It's like
and fear. It's fear, Keith, is what it is. It's pure fear. It's shareholders are wondering why we didn't have a great quarter. Yeah. And let's just grasp at straws. This is the only thing that we can actually control because you can't control the market. You can't control, and that's where it stems from.
But if I know that Carrie's sitting across the hall, they're at her desk, moving that piece of paper from that side of the desk to that side of the desk, everybody's happy, right, Keri-Lynne? Because at least I know we can massage the numbers to the end of the quarter and make the shareholders happy.
And we can watch you. You know, we can be over your shoulder monitoring you.
That's it. Keri-Lynne, thanks for hanging out with us today, mornings at 11. Hey, before you go, if you're looking for a LinkedIn optimization service, I invite you to check out my profile here. It's taken the internet by storm here. I invite you to take your face, put it over my face. You get a brand new hairstyle, and you get a lot of attention there on LinkedIn with Marty's jumping on board here today. So if you're looking to add some services to your suite of offerings, Keri-Lynne, I invite you. My LinkedIn profile optimization services launched today, free. Mornings at 11. There you go. All right. Have a good one, Keri-Lynne.
Thanks, guys.
And we should have talked about that a little bit. Next time we need to talk about that, Carrie. Thanks.
Yes. We'll come back and hang out with us again. Okay, Keri-Lynne?
Anytime. Thanks for having me.
All right. We got Marty with the fit tip. We got Adam House coming in to talk transformation in a couple of minutes here. Marty, let's get it, brother.
Let's get it. All right. We got 2 fitness tips for the day. Nice and simple. Nothing too complicated, but very practical. All right. The first one, you got to prepare. All right. Failure to plan is planning to fail. So when you start your fitness journey, or if you're trying to get back on track, I know a lot of us had Thanksgiving. We had families. We kind of ate what we wanted. We kind of talked about it yesterday, feeling fat, feeling bloated, feeling very uncomfortable. What's your plan to get back? Are you going to go to the treadmill and walk every day if you're a beginner? Are you going to go to the go to the gym and do 30 minutes? Are you going to go to the gym and do 40 minutes of exercise? And when you have a plan, guess what? You'll elevate in your fitness journey. If you start off walking, hey, I'm going to try the weights. If you start off lifting weights, hey, I'm going to try to do some cardio. Oh, I've been in the gym for a while. Let me clean up my diet. Let me increase my water intake. Let me pay attention to my protein intake. When you have a plan, you're more likely to stay on track. You're more likely to succeed, and you're more likely to hit your goal. All right. And the second lesson for the day, the second part of the fit tip for the day, learn to look in the mirror, right? And this is basically rooted in being honest with yourself. So when you look in the mirror, not only are you physically looking at yourself and seeing that your body needs a change, but looking in the mirror also means, hey, my doctor told me X, Y, Z. What am I going to do about it? I wasn't proactive about this. Am I going to do something about this? Hey, I don't like how my clothes fit. Every time I take pictures, I'm trying to hide my stomach. I'm trying to hide my man boobs. I'm trying to hide my thick thighs, whatever your whatever your insecurity is, right? You need to be able to look in the mirror. You need to be able to be honest with yourself and acknowledge that there needs a change, because nowadays everyone is saying, hey, you should love yourself. You don't know what that person's going through. And hey, those are legit. You should love yourself, and you do go through things. But guess what? The fit person at the gym's going through something. The business guy's going through something. Everybody has their shit that they're dealing with. So learn to look in the mirror, learn to acknowledge what's going on, learn to make a change. That's your fitness tip for today.
Advice, Marty. Such good advice and good words for somebody to hang on to today, because everybody is going through something, eh, Marty? At the end of the day?
Yeah, we're all human, man. You know,
and we all have our insecurities, right? Yet, you know, I would look at you. I think you got a great physique, and I'm thinking, oh, Marty has no insecurities. You're going, no, actually, I got my own shit that I'm just not sharing with you.
Man, life hits, man. It hits all of us. So when you walk around with good energy like us, people think we don't go through stuff, and that's just not true. So
that's right. That's right. Good morning, Adam Host. Good to see you, brother.
What's up, Adam?
What's going on, guys?
What's up, Adam? How are you, brother?
I think I actually like being in the waiting room more than being on the show, because I never know what the heck you're gonna say. So we hit big boobs, we hit big thighs, you know.
It's funny because I'm laughing off the green room too. What the hell Marty's talking about? And then Adam, what I find funny is Marty drops a joke and laughs at his own joke, and I'm like, I'm laughing because Marty's laughing at his own.
I try not to laugh, man. I can't help it.
I wasn't even on the screen, and I had to walk away in case you put me on. Like it almost put me on the floor, so it was good.
Adam Host joins us here today every Tuesday, 8:30 Eastern time, hanging out with the boys here. Mornings in the Lab with Keith and friends. Listen, the greatest entrepreneurial community out there, House of Bricks. If you guys need to get your business up, need some advising, and they got a great operating system they're launched there. Adam over in the House of Bricks community. I invite you guys to check that out. Adam, how was your trip to Canada, man? I missed you.
Oh, take off, eh? You know, some hockey. Everyone in Canada is sorry. I'm sorry.
It's true.
I'm sorry. You know, it's like, you didn't even do anything. What are you talking about? So it's everyone's sorry. So,
man,
good weekend though, man. It was hockey knows no holidays. We literally left Thanksgiving afternoon, got up to Whitby, and it was a nice weekend. So
I found it funny with your text. Two nations are squabbling over the border, and Trump's like, yeah, you got to lock the border down, or else maybe we'll make you our 51st state. And then Adam sends me a text on the weekend. I'm like, hey, how was your trip? I'm like, he goes, they didn't even check us. They just let us in. I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, they just let us into the country.
Didn't check our passports. I was like, you see these? Are like, go ahead. I was like, what? I got a kid in my car. I abducted him.
And I got a kid in the bag, in the hockey bag in the back there, right?
Yeah.
Now that I think about it, when I came to Canada, they didn't do a thorough check on my passport either.
Yeah.
It was just really nice. Yeah.
We have our own budget constraints here in our country. We're just, Marty looks good, we'll let him in. Adam looks good, we'll let him in. Johnny Anderson, no, we're not. We'll send Johnny Anderson to North Korea instead. That's where with Johnny. So, Adam, we're here to talk transformation today, and brother, I know I saw your notes there, and I'm calling it an audible, but it's going to be a great audible for all of us, because I know that you and I've talked to Tony Robbins in the past, and Adam, Tony talks about who we are with our core self, and how that determines our transformation or how we move forward. And we've been talking since the beginning of the show, Adam, whether somebody's an artist, whether somebody's an entrepreneur, or whether somebody's a manager. And you've had an incredibly successful career. You've started companies, you've sold companies, you've had to transform yourselves. And you made a great comment to me last night. You go, Keith, transformation is a daily thing. Adam, when you look in your own mirror, who are you? Are you an entrepreneur? Are you a creator? Or are you a manager, like a leader?
I'm a visionary and a builder, right? I mean, the House of Bricks, of course, is built on my last name, but we really do talk about building brick by brick. It's the only way to build. It's the only way to transform. Like, I'm not a motivation guy. If you want a coach that's going to, yell at you and do all that. Like that's I may yell at you, but it's still it's temporary, right? Or transformation. We never really transform. Transforming is the lifestyle that I've tried to adopt. And like you said, I've had to do it. All 6 of my businesses have been in different industries. Now on my 7th.
This is fascinating to me because you've transformed many times, and and what I'm curious about, Adam, is how have you put like ego aside when you've transformed? And not ego as in I got a big chest ego, but your humility aside to go, okay, I need to go learn this skill to go be good at this. Because Adam, there's guys tuning in right now who are going through career changes who are struggling with just that. How do I put my ego aside from what I was good at to go and transform into something else? You've done it many times.
It's not easy, and you see it in professional sports as the most obvious one, right? Like the athletes have a shelf life. The guys I respect them all, obviously, but guys like Michael Jordan, he dominated the game, but after basketball, owning a team, his brand, so he transformed into that. So it's never been about ego for me. I just love to compete, love to win, and I never say I don't know. I always say I'll figure it out. And that's just a great way to approach things that you don't know. It's good to not know things because you're about to learn something.
Yeah. I mean, every day when we wake up, we're basically focusing on ourselves. The work we do on ourselves is what keeps our daily transformation going forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Adam, here's a great question for you. You got a great community within the House of Bricks, a great community of entrepreneurs. And it's kind of a provocative question, perhaps. You got a great community of entrepreneurs. Now, no names, just think in your head. Would you say most of them are true entrepreneurs, Adam? Are they want-trepreneurs, which is why they're in the community? Or do they have that entrepreneurial spirit trying to be an entrepreneur? Because you, who's been a very successful one, know what one is. We both have been around people that want to be an entrepreneur. But Adam, those in your community, do you find some that are stuck with defining who they are, Adam?
Well, there's like 3 questions there. I'll try to break it down. Number one, like entrepreneurship really is a mindset. You don't have to own your own business to think entrepreneurially. It's, that transforming mindset. The second part of what you were asking is a lot of people think they want to be entrepreneurs, but the dreams meet reality very, very fast. And so I think the whole community wants it. I think it's the 80-20 rule. It's probably less of the ones that are willing to pay the price to do it. And that's okay. I mean, it's good to want things. A lot of people go to the gym and they don't get in shape. A lot of people want to be entrepreneurs, but they don't have what it takes to do it. So if you're asking me how many are real entrepreneurs, it's less than 10%. And that's just
everybody wants to be a lion until it's time to do what lions do.
Right.
There we go.
That's a good statement, Johnny. What is it for somebody who wants to be an entrepreneur but can't get over the hump? Johnny, is it as simple as what you always talk about, which is somebody who's not willing to put the work in to be, you always say that I'm willing to do the shit that somebody else isn't doing. Adam's done 6 different businesses. He's had to reinvent himself over and over and over. That's done by choice. Is that the key differentiator? It's somebody who wants to make a choice and who doesn't make a choice? Transform?
Oh, I mean, you're literally just taking my lifestyle tip word right out of my mouth as a decision, not a choice. It's a decision. A decision is one of the most powerful things a human has. It's just, do you have the balls to make those fucking hard decisions?
Marty?
I agree 1,000%. Never mind. I was gonna say something, but I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna save it.
You can't leave us hanging like that. You can't leave us hanging like that, baby. Come on.
Dude, I've got a grant. Forget it. I'll tell you later.
Hey, you're hanging out with Keith Adam. See Marty Fit, who's leaving us with hanging topics, and John Anderson here, Mornings in the Lab with Keith Friends. We're talking transforming your life. And we started the conversation leaning into Tony Robbins' his message of who are you at your core? Are you an entrepreneur? Are you an artist? Or are you a manager? In my experience, Adam, many folks are managers that like to lead, like to manage, but don't know how to take that next step as an entrepreneur, or certainly aren't a creator. And I think that it's okay to be that manager, but many don't want to accept that role of I'm just okay being the manager. You know what I mean, Adam?
Yeah, 100%.
Right. So go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know if that was a question, but
yeah, I just mean people are happy in the role of being a manager and struggling, and then they have that wanting to be the transformation of being a leader or an artist, but then recognize that I'm better off in this managerial role.
Yeah, and listen, teams need managers. I'm a horrible manager. Yeah, because my expectations on myself are so high, I have a hard time dumbing them. Well, I don't say dumbing them down, lowering my expectations. And that's okay. Like everyone can't score 45 points. There's only one basketball. So being a good coach, good manager is recognizing the potential and talent of the people underneath you. And those are very valuable roles in a company. Entrepreneurs need it. I heard you talking before I came on just about you're a creator, right? And a horrible business guy. You got to have the right people around you. I'm a visionary. I need someone to put all the pieces in place and follow, and execute on the things that I want done. So it's a team effort.
But I love that you recognize that, Adam, because I think that often is the struggle in an entrepreneurial journey is recognizing what your skill set is and then owning that skill set. Marty.
I was going to add real quick. I'm glad y'all are having this conversation because it's kind of like if you're a creator and you're not good at the other stuff, people try to make it seem like you're lazy because you don't want to necessarily do that. Like that's a lot of the messaging I get on social media nowadays. Have y'all ever seen that?
Yeah. When in reality, you're just accepting what your reality is, Marty. If you're in a band and you're a guitarist, you might not be the best drummer. No, I'm a good guitarist. I go hire a drummer.
Yep.
Right. That's my band. Right. So anyways, we can keep this conversation going nonstop. Transformation, as Adam says, is an ongoing thing. You don't just all of a sudden wake up and you're transformed. You got the day to go through. It's going to happen every single day. So the question really comes down to is who are you at your core? When you decide who are you at your core, it's probably going to make that transformation much easier, as led by Adam Host, who's done it 6 times and now is kicking off an awesome community in the House of Bricks community. Adam, what do you got going on today, brother?
Well, I just wanted to close that out, right? We all need people around us that are on the same frequency. We talk about the power of community. We talk about the power of this radio show and the disciplines you're talking about. Like, don't try to do it alone. They say, go fast, go alone. Well, I don't always agree with that either. Like, you can go faster with other people and you can go farther with other people. So we're all human. We're all going to fall short. We're going to have peaks and valleys on the journey, but the key is getting around like-minded people that want to build and grow with you. But in terms of what I've got going, stacked with Zoom calls as always, a couple other live events today. So appreciate you guys having me as always. My favorite 15 minutes of the week that never starts on time.
Awesome. Adam House, thanks for joining us, man. Mornings in the Lab with Keith and friends. Hey, we do our best to hit the segments. We've got this guy coming up. We got Johnny Anderson with Lifestyle Tip. Adam, have a good one, brother. We'll talk.
Thank you, Adam. Great to see you, brother.
We got AJ Zeglin waiting in the green, and we're talking ego. Maybe we'll talk about the 1,000 humans sleeping with a chick. AJ goes, what? Johnny, you're up, brother.
Let's rock. All right, let's talk about one of the most powerful things that humans have, and that's the ability to make a decision. When you start to make decisions that serve you, you will change your life fast. Are you making the decision not to hit the snooze button? Are you making the decision to eat in a way that's going to keep you happy and healthy? Are you making decisions that are going to serve you, which will help you serve the ones you love? But at the root of it all, have you made the decision to honor the word to yourself? Because if you can do that, the rest of the decisions you will make will be much, much easier. Rock and roll.
Oh, with Johnny Anderson, the Lifestyle Tip, 8:45 Eastern Time. Content to get you moving here. Mr. Zeglin, how are you, brother?
Hey, real quick, am I the only one that's having a hard time hearing here? Is it just my internet, or is there choppiness for everybody else?
Marty,
I'm good.
Yeah.
Finally, it's not no idea what's going on, man. It's like I've never ever had. I feel like I'm in Tahoe right now.
Finally, it's not me.
Is there a delay? There's no delay. It's just okay. So perfect. So at least I'm just missing bits and pieces, I can tie it together. So then when I talk, it actually fucking gets out. So you're hearing my voice just fine, no problem.
I'm thinking,
Good,
Marty, AJ, I think the delay might be in between Johnny's ears today.
Oh wow.
No, it's when I get on and I'm hearing choppy shit. I'm on my heels, man. I'm playing defense. I'm not playing offense because I can't hear the fucking signal, you know.
AJ Zeglin, we're here with our mind field expert, our mental performance expert, joining us every Tuesday and Thursday here morning in the lab. Before we get into it, brother, how did the trip down to the States go? How did the boys do at the hockey tournament? Fulfill the end of the story. Last time you were on the show, you were in a hotel room. You had a big, busy day and busy weekend. How did the boys do, brother?
Yeah, they did great. Got knocked out in the semifinals.
Yeah.
So I mean, they played some pretty good hockey. And then unfortunately came up a little bit short, but trip overall was awesome, man. It was nice to get out of Winnipeg for a week and obviously get to LA. We took in Universal Studios, went down to the beaches, Santa Monica, that stretch there.
Yes, sir.
You know, Jets Kings game and a whole bunch of stuff like that. So it was a great time.
Oh, you went to the Jets Kings game, eh? Good for you.
Yeah, obviously didn't go the way we were hoping. Coming from Winnipeg, you know, it wasn't the Jets' best night that night. But I got to say, that was my first time in. I keep wanting to call it Staples Center in Crypto Arena there. But what an arena! I'd never been in that venue before. Pretty awesome arena to take in a sports event.
That's cool. That's cool.
So y'all saw the hometown team in LA, basically. Winnipeg Jets, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Dang, man.
I
would hope to see someone else out of town.
Oh, yeah, just the way it worked out with the Jets just happened to be there when we were there. So it worked out good. We could go support our hometown team, but came up a little short that night. So
there you go. So AJ, we're here to talk ego today. I want to talk ego, talk about ego in the world of transformation.
Good topic, brother.
And do you think there's any ego involved with one of the men who are going to be one of the 1,000 men who are going to sleep with Lily Phillips in 24 hours? You heard about this, AJ?
No, I haven't. But you piqued my interest. You piqued my interest more than your outfit has piqued my interest this morning so far.
We're going to get into the morning loop reloaded. We're going to get into a topic around, an adult worker who's sparking health concerns, AJ Zeglin, for inviting men to put their ego aside for an invite to sleep with her, 1,000 men in 24 hours. So far, she's done 101 and done 300, and now she's going to do 1,000 men in 24 hours, all giving them 41.6 seconds of time to complete the measure. But AJ, we're here to talk ego, and I'm wondering how ego might be involved in part of that situation. But once we identify our ego, we understand its impact. How can ego hurt us in our journey towards transformation? AJ Zeglin, talk about ego.
Yeah, I mean, like most things in life, there's some positives and negatives that could come from our ego. I don't think, like most things, anything is really inherently good or bad. It's how we use it in certain situations. When you're talking from the negative side of things, I think the biggest negative impact that our ego can have on us is preventing us from taking the opportunity to learn and grow, right? In a negative way, we can our ego can maybe influence us or lead us to believe that we already know everything in a situation. We have nothing left to learn and we can't get any better. And obviously that, comes at a price and just, reduces our ability or our ability to improve and get better. Right. So I would say, just off the top of my head, I think that would be the biggest negative kind of influence that ego can have on us if we don't have our ego under control. Would be it would hinder our ability to learn.
But ego isn't always bad. It can also be a driving force, right? How can we harness our ego? I think about John's career, onto the stage of bodybuilding, through his stage of wrestling, through his stage of strongman. I think of Marty's career as a D1 athlete and so forth. How do we harness that ego in a way that helps us rather than hurts us? Yeah, no,
that's kind of the $1 million question, right? Because we want the ability to always grow and improve and get better. But also, if you've done anything competitive in your life, your ego has been attached to that, right? You want to win. You want to beat the other person across from you. You even want to beat yourself, you're the old version of yourself, and improve upon yourself on what you were able to do before. There's ego attached to that, right? And you know, and that can be a great motivating factor. It could help us, influence our confidence and our belief in ourselves in those competitive moments, right?
Yes.
And it can even be a trigger for us sometimes if we're kind of doubting ourselves a little bit and we're in a competitive situation, we're playing a sport or whatever, you know, you go out, let's say you're playing, you know, hockey or football or one of those sports, you go out there and you're kind of being like, hey, I'm second guessing myself. I'm this, I'm that. I'm not sure. I'm kind of nervous. I'm anxious about this. And all of a sudden you take that first hit and now all of a sudden you're like, oh, wow. You know, you take that first punch in the face and now you're like, oh, wow. Okay. I see what's going on. And the ego kind of kicks in and you're like, well, I'm not standing here and taking this, man. I'm fighting back. Like I'm here to win, you know? And then, so ego can play a really positive part in that aspect of competition as well, right?
100%. You know, I think with the ego, when it comes to like one of the things I've always tried to keep control of my ego, that like in training, let's talk training. I've never ever hurt myself in training because that's where I got to control my ego. But when it's game time, that's when I let my ego go bananas. And I've hurt myself many times in competition because I have to believe in that moment. And I let my ego just come unfucking chained. And in some cases, you know, you end up banging yourself up in the process, but it's knowing when to let that ego come loose. If you let that ego run your day-to-day life, you're gonna be in trouble.
But boys, is that the difference between like this is a great conversation. Is ego the ultimate differentiator between those ultimate elite athletes compared to those that are almost elite? So just hear me out, for example. So let's put the Kobe's, the LeBrons, the Wayne Gretzky's, like the elite of the elite. You know, is it just that their ego pushed them a little further than Johnny Anderson or Christopher Martin or Keith Bilous? Is that really what it comes down to, boys? Johnny, you first, man, just on your experience with guys, you know, in that arena.
I mean, I think when it comes down to like,
and not in a negative way.
In practice, you know, there's to become elite, there's just practice is just something that you can't even see all the practice that people are putting in when they're becoming elite because they're doing a lot of it when nobody can see. And I think to do that, you've got to make sure you're getting in your reps and you got to control that ego so you can continue to practice, because you don't always have to be at your best in practice. You need to be at your best when it matters, when it's game time. So I think that ego's got to keep you pushing enough to keep your reps going in practice, and especially practice when nobody's looking. But I think then in those game situations, that's when that guy understands this is where I let it out.
Marty.
Yeah, I was going to add too. So basically, Johnny just said reps, right? You got to get those reps in to develop the ego. But along with the ego, you got to have a little bit of delusion too. You know, you got to have the delusion to even put those reps in to, you know, believe that you can get to a certain point, right? So that comes along with having that vision and a little bit of, you know, I guess that creativity we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, belief jumps in this concept, you know, massively, because if you don't have it, I always make the joke I was dumb enough to believe. If I didn't have that belief, it would never have happened.
Well, that's what I'm thinking about when I look at you, AJ. I know you worked with many, many professional athletes here in our local town here. And as you reflect upon those names that are come across your desk, I have to think that ego in a good way separates the chaff, because you got a guy showing up and going, I'm going to be fucking better than Marty today. So I'm going to go do 10 more free throws than he's doing. Oh, he's going back to the dressing room. I'm sticking out here a little bit longer. And that's driven by my ego, my healthy ego though.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I think, I think you're right there. I think a lot of times when we hear about ego being a motivating factor, I think people associate it with a negative, right? Yes. They're like, oh, that guy's got a big ego. That guy's got it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But I mean, I've been around many great athletes and got a chance to work with many great athletes who I would say, do they have an ego? Absolutely. Did they treat everyone around them with the utmost respect? And were they awesome guys to be around? Yeah, they were awesome guys to be around. They were great leaders. They treat everyone with respect. Just because you have this undeniable self-belief that you can do great things doesn't mean that you are also going to be like a bad person outside of that, right? And I think sometimes sometimes we associate ego with that, right? And
no, I think often we do, AJ. I don't think it's a sometimes. I think traditionally we like to judge a book by its cover, and then we like to attach the comment of ego. So look at Johnny. You know, you put Johnny in a room with 10 guys, he's probably looking different than 99% of them. So you're going to judge him by his cover, you're going to judge him by his look, and you probably think he's got a big ego. Even though he's probably the kindest guy, the gentlest soul, but it's just that immediate perception, right?
Yeah. And yeah, for sure. And that would be John having control over that aspect of his life, right? Because he can control his ego and channel it towards good, positive things that he's trying to accomplish, and control and regulate the negative sides of it, right? That the negative side of the ego is going to come out when someone's defensive and someone is whatever, right? So, you know, you're in a room with that pro athlete who has or highly successful person who has amazing dreams, and like what Marty was saying, who has this like delusional vision of like, I can be the best in the world at this, right? Awesome. And you could channel that all towards good. And then they can do that while being confident, you know, because they've put the reps in, like these guys were just saying. And so they don't feel threatened, right? If someone else comes in that room and someone else is trying to be the best, then that's when that person feels threatened. Then their ego leads them down the path of, if they don't have control over their ego, now they're defensive. Now it's like, oh, I'm being attacked here. Someone else is trying to be the best in the room too. Now I got to be like, now I'm going to be kind of a shitty person about it, right? Yes. And now I'm going to, you know, and it's just them not being able to control their own ego, right? They can't manage their own emotions. So the negative ones are starting to show themselves.
Yeah. Hey, you're hanging out with Keith, AJ, Marty, John Anderson here, Mornings Live with Keith and Friends. Marty, you got to rock and roll, brother?
I got to rock and roll, man.
Marty's got to head out of here. AJ, do you got a quick minute to stick around, or do you got to rock and roll right now too? Do you got a quick minute for me?
I got to rock and roll with Marty, man. I got
You do it. You get out of here. Appreciate you hanging out. This conversation on ego today. We'll see you here on Thursday, Mornings Live with Keith and Friends. AJ is here every single Tuesday and Thursday, talk mindful, talk mind, performance, and mental performance and so forth. Marty, get after, brother. AJ, get after, brother. We'll talk to you a little later, okay?
Yes, sir. I'll talk to y'all, man.
You guys.
Have a great day, guys.
Awesome. Rick Clody, I see you there in the comments. Thanks for joining us here this morning. Gunty, I see you there as well. You're hanging out with Keith, Marty, John Anderson on here, Mornings Live with Keith and Friends. AJ Zeglin just left. Marty Fit just left, and Keith and Johnny are working this conversation by as we continue the show here with you guys here this morning. And Johnny, I thought what we would do here, I'm going to just do this here. I'm going to flip this over here. You got to go for a break, probably, I'm thinking.
Yep, it's time, baby.
You go away for your break. We'll come back and reset the show. We'll keep the conversation going, brother.
Let's rock, baby. All
right, Johnny's heading off for a break. I'm going to keep the show going here, guys. We're here talking about transformation here today. We're talking, who are you at your core? Yeah, are you a entrepreneur? Are you a manager? Are you a creator? Or are you a dancer? Hey, Mornings Alive with Keith and Friends, the only morning show to help you get your ass out of bed. I see you, Gunty, the Gunty channel. How can I help you? I don't know. How can I help you? You have ego? Ego's a good thing. Put it aside. Help you achieve those big goals. Good morning, Jack Dugan. Did I say your last name right? I had somebody correct me in the comments yesterday. They said, hey, Keith, it's actually Duran, but Dugan. So it's Jack Dugan. Is it Jack Dugan? Jack Dugan, one of our great guests here. We featured him yesterday on the show here. Guy lost 48 pounds since he tuned into this morning show, and he hangs out with us every single day. So listen, if you're looking to lose some weight, I invite you to hang out with us, and might give you a chance to lose some weight on your journey to a better, healthier life. Today we're talking transformation here in the lab. Myself, producer Jimmy on the buttons, Johnny Anderson back here. How's your internet working, pal? Working better for you? Or are you having some struggles? What's changed, Johnny?
I don't know. After I got back from Thanksgiving, that trip, was it is today the second day back? Yeah, today's I don't know what it is. I mean, it's been crystal clear Ever since I got the studio set up, there's a whatever the little box is that gives you the Wi-Fi is not far away.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I get back from the trip and it's like, at least there's no delay, but it's like I'm hearing like every third word. I mean, it's like I'm having to sit here and try to piece together what's being said. I have no clue. I turn my VPN off. Fuck, I've done all the things that I know how to do. So
you're doing the best you can, pal, and I appreciate that. For something I learned from you, man, last week, you're like, if you can always take the attitude that the person across the room is doing the best that they can, man, is it a really wonderful way to diffuse emotion, eh?
Yeah.
You know, because you're like, you know, you see, okay, well, maybe, so I know, because it's like, well, I know Johnny didn't wake up today going, I'm going to fuck the morning show today. I'm going to have bad internet. Like, so it's like, no. And but we as humans want to judge so quickly, right? But it's like, hold on a second here. No.
Well, and you just hit it on the head, brother. If you can truly not judge people, then it's very easy to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yes.
When you're a judgmental person, and I think that's when you use judgment against others, I think it really lowers your vibration. I don't think it helps a person. I think it fucks a person up. You know, when someone's, if you assume they're doing the best they can and they're not doing good enough for you, then go somewhere else or find someone else, whatever you want to do. But you don't have to lower your vibration on somebody else because they are who they are.
Well, dude, man, am I appreciative of you saying that, because I think that even in many ways that leans into our topic today about who you are at your core, right? Because we always say this, hey, Johnny, if you don't like me, you don't like Johnny, go change the channel. Like, just, you got a lot of choices. You don't have to hang out with Keith and Johnny. Like, we are not forcing you to stay here. If you like our content, you like our conversations, stick around. If you don't, go somewhere else. Yeah. And it's easy for us to forget that, Johnny, because I think sometimes when we get into this industry or get into doing things, we're so quicking to want to please so many people. It's like, well, hold on a second here. Actually, no, I don't need to please 1,000 people. I want to please 100 people that want to be pleased by me.
Well, you know, it's like 31 flavors, you know, the ice cream shop.
Yes.
There's a flavor for everybody. I'm not everybody's flavor. And if you don't like me, that's fine. Go pick another flavor, but just do it over there. You know, there's plenty of flavors. You don't have to sit here and dislike mine. Go over, find what you want.
Speaking of flavors, let's go here, man. So I knew I had to throw this on the table today for you and I to chat about. I figured that we would be the last two standing here for this last couple segments of the show.
Come on, baby.
But Johnny, British adult entertainer Lily Phillips has revealed her ambitious mission of breaking the record. Dude, this is a record, man, of sleeping with the most men in 24 hours.
Well, hold on. You know, the thing was, when you started the show, you talked about this woman who wanted to sleep with 1,000 people in a day, but then you backed up, or excuse me, later in the show, you said she'd already done 300.
Yeah, she has. So because she's been practicing, Johnny. Like, hear me out, man. Like, this is ridiculous. So first of all, she's not 33, 43, 53. She's 23. So this 23-year-old, and we both have daughters, so we'll just leave our thoughts aside. This 23-year-old has said she's been undergoing training to prepare for the big feat. So she's had to put all ego aside, Johnny, and prepare. So she so far has done 101 men in 24 hours. And then her next round of training was 300 men in 24 hours. And she called it like a boxing match. And the current record holder, Lisa Sparks, in 2004, engaged in intercourse with 919 men. And Lily Phillips has an ambition of doing 1,000 men in 24 hours.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Well, you know, I think it doesn't surprise me that she's young. I can only speak from my own experience. But when I was younger, sex was very different. As I got older and I started to know more, I realized that sex actually, you know, was, I don't know, I think it needs to be treated a little differently, as, you know, when it comes down to it. You know, like my mother told me, so I had trouble with understanding what a good relationship was when I was younger. And she said, what she told me is because sex came too easy. If sex wasn't so easy, I would have had a different respect for sex, which would have then given me a different play on relationships. So, I mean, I think in current times, you know, sex can be a little confusing for people because there's a lot to it rather than just the actual physical act.
Yeah. Well, according to Phillips, Johnny, She thinks that she's going to be sore towards the end of the event, but she's convinced that she has the right determination just to be able to push on. And she says, admitting that sleeping with 300 men and 101 men up until now has been hard work. She says bonking 101 guys in 14 hours is so much harder than a 9 to 5. She talks about sleeping with 100 men is so much more taxing. She also talks, Johnny, about the logistical hurdles of organizing such an event, from hiring security guards.
I can only imagine that. Jesus Christ.
Hiring security guards to scheduling participants into hour-long time slots. Now, listen, you get your hour-long time slot, Johnny, but you're actually only given 41 seconds, 41.6 seconds to complete the deed. And Lauren jumps in with a great comment being, I imagine sore would be an understatement. But Johnny, 41.6 seconds you're given.
Okay, well, you got 41.6 seconds, but does that also include the transit from one guy out to the next guy in? Was there a transit time, or is it just you got 41 seconds? You know, basically you and the guy before you and guy after, you got to figure out how you split that transit time up.
That's what it is. That's what it is, she says. But here's the thing. They're booking a room with 2 doors. So Johnny, if you and I are role playing, right? I'm going to go in one door, watching you do your thing in 41 seconds. And as you exit the back door, and I didn't see the back, I didn't mention the back door of Lily. No, the back door of the hotel room.
The exit door.
The exit door. I'm going to enter in, and I'm just assuming it's just one position, missionary or doggy style, but I'm just assuming it's one position for the whole experience. That's what I got to assume.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a different thought process for sure. I mean,
and the adult entertainer says she's currently on the lookout for 1,000 men who would help her break the record. Right. So she talks about, so now there are health critics, Johnny, that are criticizing Lily Phillips for this whole situation. They're saying that, all I get is 41.6 seconds to do it in 24 hours. Right. So it's just nonstop. And I learned last night, Johnny, that in the state of Utah, there, some of our Mormon friends like that. So apparently maybe it's a myth, maybe it's not a myth. I don't know, but I heard something last night where, you can have sex with somebody in the state of Utah without actually having sex, where you insert the penis into the vagina, but you don't thrust. It just sits there like a hot dog, like a wiener inside the bun. It just sits there.
And that's not considered sex.
Apparently not. Apparently,
so like if the guy that goes to a bar and cheats on his wife, honey, I just stuck it in, I didn't move.
Yeah, that's okay. Apparently, according to the leaders of the Mormon Church, some of the questions you might get asked is: was there thrusting? Was there humping? Was there movement? And the answer might be, well, no, it just stayed in a stable position. Then apparently that might not be considered intercourse, Johnny.
Well, that's a very interesting play on what sex is and not. I've never heard that one before. That's for sure. Here's the thing too, brothers. Now with social media, the internet, attention is currency.
Oh yes. Why do you think I'm in a fucking robe and a red hat right now, Johnny?
Yeah, so it's kind of like, I guess when it comes down to it, is that you got to kind of decide: are you using attention for the right type of currency? You know what I mean?
Well, so let's go there. So let's think about this lady, right? So 1,000 men, 24 hours. Do some rough math, right? She charges the guy $100, right, for 41 seconds.
Oh, hold on. So they're having to pay for this.
All right. So it's not stated here. I am certain that men are going to have to pay for this experience. And it's not clearly indicated in this article, but I'm only making an assumption that she will be charging for entry into her vagina.
Wow. Well, that changes the game now. Holy smokes.
So Diana Bittner, medical doctor and OBGYN, says there's no limit, Johnny. We both know this, pal. We both know this. There's no limit to the amount of sex anyone can have, but there are physical issues that might leave you a little, shall we say, uncomfortable. While vaginal dryness can also be the result of inadequate foreplay, the natural lubrications of the vagina dry up with prolonged sexual contact.
Brother, she's going to be sitting there with a fucking big mixing bowl of lube, and she's going to be giving herself a big wipe between every one of these dudes, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. So what's that? Is it Dude Wipes? I'm sure Dude Wipes is going to be a big sponsor of this segment here for Lily. But listen, gentlemen,
what's a dude wipe?
I think Dude Wipes, those wipes that are offered to men to wipe the shaft after they've done their business.
I'm sorry, you broke up. Say that again. They're offered to men what?
They're offered to men to clean the shaft after they've done their business.
Well, I think from her perspective, she's going to be needing to make sure that she's lubing herself up. The dudes, something tells me a dude that's going to go into this thing is not too worried about what gets on his shaft.
Listen, if you're signing up, I'm thinking that so here's the thing. We were talking with AJ about putting ego aside and who are you at your core here today? How do you go through a life transformation? Who are you at your core? Are you a creator? Are you an entrepreneur? Are you a manager? But who's the dude signing up? So is that just like to be one of the 1,000 men? I just don't know, Johnny. It just makes me puzzled,
Yeah, this is pretty out there, for sure. And the crazy thing is that this is probably going to become, now that people see this, there's probably going to be more of this shit. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. 100%. I'm sure. Well, listen, there was a woman here in Australia who, over spring break went and bedded, I think it was a couple hundred men over a weekend. And it's kind of become this thing, to your point, with internet and social media, Instagram. It's like, hey, come to if anything, what it's done, Johnny, it's normalized it. It's like, oh yeah, here you go. There's my picture on Instagram. You can come pay me for sex and it's $200 and you got 40 seconds next. It's kind of goofy to me, but hey,
so do the math on that. If she's got 1,000, right? Yeah. If she charges $100 a pop, she's going to make $100,000 in 24 hours.
I know. That's my point.
Is this just about money?
And attention, to your point. Like, listen, she's getting a lot of attention currency. She's got a lot of noise on the internet with this whole thing, right? So, here's the bigger question, Johnny. Can she find 1,000 men to give her $1,000, make herself a millionaire in 24 hours?
Well, goddamn, I would hope that she's doing some sort of an interview process, because I can imagine can you imagine you're sitting there, this poor lady, and like, who the fuck's going to come walking through that door now? I mean, if I was in this situation, I'd want to be handpicking who's going to come through that door. Like, dude, Jesus Christ, look at this motherfucker. No, pass,
That's it. All right, you're hanging out with Keith and John Anderson. Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends, the only morning show to help you get your ass to bed with content and conversation to keep you guys excited and so forth.
Yeah, this is one of those topics where I kind of don't know which direction to go on this thing.
I know.
The moral part of me, the part that understands what a good relationship is, says this is terrible for this girl.
I love how fucking mature sounding you are right now. Like, I love that it's just you and I right here right now. And you're actually sounding like the mature, like anybody who knows John Anderson sees John, they're like, is he actually having this conversation? Is he actually having this moral dilemma about this young lady? Yes, John, you are. I know you're a grandfather, you're a father, you have daughters. You're having a moral dilemma with this young lady right now, Johnny.
Well, think of it. If this was your daughter, and you fucking stumbled across a post about her getting ready to line up 1,000 dudes, you're thinking, what the fuck did I do wrong?
Right? Well, listen, yeah. I stumbled upon an article yesterday too. I should find it too, where a young lady discovered her uncle was a big fan of her OnlyFans account.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Like, Johnny, think about that for a second here. Just stripping up and taking your clothes off, and you look into the old fucking receipt, you're making cash, and you're like, oh, Uncle John's on the list. Like, how does that go over at the next fucking Thanksgiving dinner?
That is, I'll tell you, if one of my daughters was in that situation and she was doing something like that, and I discovered that one of my brothers was one of the paying members, I would be having it'd be like we were 15 again. We would be fucking duking it out, man.
Yes. Yes. Well, and Laura comes up with a great point too. She's thinking, she's clearly not thinking about becoming a mother one day. and the impact that this will have on their children. And that's a wonderful point. Laura and I have a conversation often when we're watching a show or watching somebody's ridiculous behavior. Because Johnny, listen, we both have had our times of ridiculous behavior and before the internet, right? But now with everything on the internet, you're like, you're going to be a mom one day, you're going to be a dad one day, your kids are going to see that. Have you thought about that?
I mean, it's crazy how sometimes we look at our characteristics, look at our drive. And I literally believe that I was brought into this world in a time when social media was brought in later, when I had a much better grip on who I was and what was going on around me. Because, you know, as a youngster, when I was literally doing whatever I had to do to get where I wanted to go, I was using every resource possible, but there was only so many resources available. And so that mindset, you know, I could have, I mean, it's tough to say, but God knows I may have done some even stupider shit, I should say, in my journey with the internet and social media available. It's like, oh my God, there's a responsibility that a person has to not get themselves in too much of a pickle with all these resources.
Hey, brother, question for you. We're going to do the creator spotlight here in a couple minutes before we wrap the show up here at the bottom of the hour here. I know you got to rock and roll too, and I'm going to rock and roll here at the 9:30 part of the show here. But Johnny, a question for you, man. You're a father of 3 daughters, and I got 2 daughters myself. Let's talk about this for a moment. Daughter comes up to you and says, "Dad, I want to have Dad, I'm 18. I'm having an OnlyFans account." Or, "Dad, I've decided to be a professional adult performer. I'm going to go work hard for a number of years. I got my head on straight because Mom and Dad, you've done a really wonderful job raising me. I'm a business human. I know my body has value to men out there who are going to pay anybody anyways. So I'm going to go out there and monetize myself to set myself up for the next 3 or 4 years. Mom, Dad, do I have your support?"
And that's one of my daughters saying that to me.
Yeah.
Again, excuse me. My first thought is, what the fuck did I do wrong?
Is that though? Hold on, sorry, but is that though, pal? Because hold on, because so it's role play. Because I'm like, no, but Dad, Mom, Dad, you've done nothing wrong. I've got my head on straight. I'm treating this as a business. You know, I'm not spreading my legs. Just gonna go and take my clothes off and take pictures and serve a part of the public that desires what I have. And I'm not going to do all the bad shit. So no, actually, Dad, I've learned from you. I've learned the business. I've learned all the hard things you've done, Johnny. Dad, as a business person, I want to go take the skills you've taught me and monetize my body, just like you monetized your body, and not a negative judgment, Johnny.
Sure. No, I understand. Well, how's this? I'll go back in time.
Yeah. Okay.
There was a period of time where I was actually indulging in this is like early, like college, shortly after college, where I was very attracted to strippers. Right.
Okay.
I had a lot of relationships with strippers. You know, some were just sexual. Some ended up, you know, somehow sex turned into more than that. And these chicks ended up living with her. What the hell? How did this happen again? You know, but the point is that I've got the understanding to know that usually behind their, you know, I'm doing this so I can put myself through college. Okay. That's what you tell yourself. But down deep in there was something that was driving them to do that. And in many cases, it was an issue with their fathers. So I'm speaking from a father standpoint, and on the other side of knowing girls or young ladies or ladies in general who were, you know, using this type of monetization skills. And there was usually something there. Never once did I have a good time with a stripper and go, man, this is a really, really morally put together chick. Not once.
Not just even half of once.
No. Because part of it is I wasn't looking for morality when I was going there. You know,
it's funny because you don't know this right now, but I have another topic on I got like a queue of topics I call them conversation topics. And I actually have a topic here on the queue that says 5 blowjob positions to try with your partner. So we're talking moral high roads with the strippers you were nailing, Johnny. Maybe that's a conversation for a different day regarding your past.
Yeah. Well, and I'll be totally honest, you know, because of my choices that I made with those type of females, I never learned what a good relationship was. So when Terry showed up, I was, it was like, okay, perfect example. A fight was then basically made up with sex. So it's almost like you almost like looked forward to it, or you saw a little opportunity for a fight and you'd pour into it because you knew there's going to be some nasty makeup sex afterwards.
Yeah.
And so this is a pattern that all of a sudden you become used to when you can have that amazing, nasty sex when you didn't have a fight beforehand. But I didn't recognize that was the way it worked.
Yeah, it's that's interesting, Johnny. On Thursday, we're talking about how to transform your life through relationships. We're going to talk about relationships on Thursday. And I know that you have a lot of great experience we're going to bring to the table and share some of that. And it's interesting, Johnny, because what you're really mostly talking about is in those situations, trying to create emotion, whether it's negative emotion or passion emotion. It's like you're lighting a fire with that human to get a rise out of them to go get what the other rise you want to get of, right? And it's just negative energy chasing negative energy. It's all that is.
And on that level, I want to make sure I'm not, excuse me, I'm not damning or convicting or judging anyone. Usually this stuff happens as like an exhaust or a side effect of something that happened to them.
Yes.
And so it's kind of it's like a reaction from an action.
Yes.
And in many cases, we do shit like this and we don't even know that we're doing it until someone points it out. We just find a way to fill a void and it feels good. So we keep filling that void. And in many cases, it's when someone comes in our lives that's honest, that says, hey, what the fuck are you doing? This is really not filling the void. It just appears to be. It's time to do some work on yourself and figure out what that is. And now, granted, if you're using some methodology to fill a void that's actually bettering your existence and serving the ones you love, then you're on the right track. But it's a slippery slope, man. And when it comes down to it, it's like you can argue both sides of this fence for sure. But I want to make sure I'm not damning or judging anyone. I'm just talking about my experiences and how I see it.
Listen, if there's one thing I've learned hanging out with you, man, and continue just to keep getting better at every single day is there's what's really the point in judging, actually. So if you want to go be a professional dancer and make your money on stage, taking off your clothes, good on you. I have no judgment. I don't know what your life was. I don't know how you got there. I don't know how you arrived there. But with all respect, Johnny, who the fuck am I to judge? With reality, right? Really, who am I to judge? Just like you. It's like that's we all have our journeys, right? And like you said, and you've been teaching me, I'm doing the best I can, and maybe that human being is doing the best that they can.
Well, and here's the thing too. There was actually, I remember there was a female. I was in college. Obviously, she was a stripper, and we didn't actually meet at the strip club. We actually met. She was actually an athlete in college, right? So we met outside the strip club, and then I found out that she was a stripper, and she was truly using that money to work her way through college. She wasn't a full ride athlete. But here's what was happening. Unfortunately, she didn't finish because that lifestyle got her too distracted.
No kidding. Well, so that's so again, that's why I go back to my original question, right? Your daughter's grounded in reality, grounded in truth, grounded in the John Anderson principles and values, and Terry's principles and values. The belief is, Mom and Dad, I'm going to go make a bunch of cash. I'm not going to go make a bunch of bad decisions because I'm rooted in a grounded reality. And I know there's a balance there because, like you said, I'm working hard to go get my college degree. Next thing you know, you meet some dude, you get introduced to a line, and next thing you know, you're off in a bad direction. That's generally what happens, right?
Literally.
Yeah. All right, let's keep the chat going here, Johnny. I know we're going to wrap it up here, but before we do that, let's do the creator spotlight here. We have somebody here, Jimmy. We're going to do this quickly, brother. We got somebody who's building a community for millennial dads. Yeah, true story. A community designed to help you create stronger bonds with your kids. As modern fathers, we face unique challenges our own dads didn't experience. John and I are talking about it right now. So let's navigate this journey right now for today's Mornings in the Lab Creator Spotlight. This creator is leading the charge in helping dads forge stronger bonds with their kids, Johnny, while navigating modern parenting challenges. He's an advocate for personal growth with a focus on connection and reflection. He empowers dads to become their best selves, both as parents and individuals. This guy's rocking it, man. He's the founder of Millennial Prime, and he's built this through a supportive community. He provides actionable tools, camaraderie, and resources to help dads like you and I, Johnny, deepen their relationship with their kids. Today, Mornings in the Lab with Keith and friends, Keith and Johnny Anderson here. Jimmy, let's do it. We're going to celebrate this young man. His name is Greg Goranov. No, Goranov. Sorry, Greg, I did my best. Greg Goranov, who is our creator spotlight here today, Mornings in the Lab. He talks about the challenges of modern fatherhood, Johnny. The new dynamics of a modern society that's created unique expectations for fathers, a lack of models. Hey, man, every single day you got a great model here with Keith and Johnny. We share our experiences, our frustrations, our learnings here on this morning show. Many dads face struggles, and he's introduced something called the Millennial Prime. A real community, actionable resources, and personal growth. What you're going to get from hanging out with Greg is time management, age-appropriate activities, deeper connection, and, of course, some community benefits. Personal growth, camaraderie, and validation is what you'll get from Greg Goranov on over on LinkedIn. And before we do that, we're going to do this, Jimmy. We're going to put up Greg's LinkedIn profile as well. We're going to show you guys what Johnny or Greg looks over on LinkedIn, so you guys can connect with Greg. He is you can see here he's signed up for the only newsletter you need as a millennial dad. So if you are a millennial dad, you want to connect with Greg Goranov, who's building a community for millennial dads to help them create stronger bonds. And listen, I did a quick read of his about section, and what I loved about it is his first statement. It's hard to be a great dad if you're not your best self. Johnny, you and I wake up every single day with this statement, and I think Greg says it best. He's helping dads be their best selves, Johnny, so that they can be a better dad. Greg Goranov, we're here to celebrate you, my friend. Mornings in the Lab with Keith and friends. Mornings in the Lab with Keith and John Anderson here today. You come out and hang out with us, Greg. Here's how it works. We celebrated you. We want to invite you to the show. Bring somebody who's in your orbit who we can celebrate as part of our morning show, Mornings in the Lab with Keith and friends. There you have it, Greg. Come hang out with us, okay, brother? All right, Johnny. Well, listen, man, we did it, brother. 98 minutes, 92 minutes in the show here. We had a great show today. We talked about what somebody's true self is, whether it's a leader, whether it's a manager, whether it's an entrepreneur. And, like you said, it's kind of a mix of both. But ultimately, I believe you are a creator who surrounds yourself with business people to help unlock the business expertise that you have. And I know that that's what I am as well, is that I've truly recognized that I'm an artist and I love being an artist. Look at me, I'm fucking dressed in a robe and a red hat here today. So I love that's, it's just what it is, right? For attention. So to keep growing the show, man. But listen, what do you got on the agenda today, pal? What do you got going on today? Terry time today?
Today is an off day from physical activity. My
Nice.
body said it's time to do some
Really?
rest.
Really?
Yeah, so it's going to be, I can tell already, my body's already enjoying the fact that it's just straight recovery. So
I got to quickly lean into this with a minute for you. Isn't it wonderful how our brains work when you know that there's no physical activity today? Like, it's crazy, right? Because, if one's not doing it often, but the moment you start training yourself daily, your brain goes, oh, it's an off day today. It's magical feeling, man, isn't it?
yeah, it's almost like your body knows it's time to catch up.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. All right, Johnny, listen, man, I love you. Great show today. I appreciate your time today. I appreciate the internet challenge that you did not have today. Listen, I don't think they're as bad as you thought they were, but we worked them out.
Well, I'm glad that everybody could hear me, because I'm having a hard. I mean, I'm at some points it's clear, and all of a sudden, other times it's like I won't hear anything for 3 seconds, and then when someone starts speaking, I'm trying to catch up. Hopefully, this shit won't be here tomorrow. I have no idea what this is. And
speaking of tomorrow, let me do a quick little check of the calendar. Tomorrow we have on the show. Tomorrow is Wednesday. We have Ryan Sullivan joining us first thing in the morning. Johnny, I met Ryan a few months back. Ryan runs an incredibly successful podcast business. So we'll have some fun with Ryan during center stage. Of course, you and I are in the live business, so we can tease everybody who does the recorded game. We're like, oh, you guys record shit. Yeah, me, Keith, and Johnny do the live stuff. So Keith, Johnny, and Marty will tease Ryan tomorrow. Ryan's a great dude. Gonna hang out with us tomorrow mornings in the lab, but he'll be at 8:15 Eastern time tomorrow. So on behalf of John Anderson, producer Jimmy on the buttons, C. Marty Fit, Adam House, AJ Zegman, and the whole gang who showed up today. You guys have a good one. We'll see you guys tomorrow, 8 o'clock Eastern time, right here. Mornings in the lab with Keith. That's me and my friend Johnny. See you guys.